What is going on, YouTube? Dylan here with Dylan's Home Espresso Bar. Today we have a very interesting kind of topic of discussion. So we are going to be talking about different ways to use your WDT tool, which is the wise distribution technique, to really optimize your espresso shot and extraction. So there's multiple ways that you can use your WDT tool, and I'm going to show you today how. So many of you guys may already be using it. I did take a recent poll on my YouTube channel, and it turns out about 50% of you on a daily basis use the wise distribution technique. Now, is this a must to get a good shot of espresso? No. Now, I know that a lot of you have fallen into the trap of the bottomless portafilter. Now, the bottomless portafilter is amazing, and it's honestly one of my favorite portafilters to use as opposed to a spouted portafilter, just because you can kind of see where you're making the mistake, whether it's in your just in your workflow in general, whether it's your tamping, your distribution, just to make sure like everything is nice and neat and organized. Kind of hides a lot of that with the spout. So I'm really big into bottomless portafilters. But as you guys know, getting into this coffee trap or this coffee community that makes us spend a lot of money because we love our tools, bottomless portafilters aren't always the beautiful, I guess, videos and stuff you see on Instagram. Sometimes they're very messy, especially when you're dialing in a new bean. So I'm hoping that what I show you today there's like a piece of fuzz flying. I'm hoping what I can show you guys today is going to help that, or at least minimize some of the channeling issues that many of you guys may be having. Now, WDT tool is very simple to use. It's a very simple tool. It comes in multiple different looks. And also, I think that they have different ways of using them, and I'm going to explain to you guys today how. So again, thank you. My name is Dylan with Dylan's Home Espresso Bar. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button. It really helps this channel grow a ton, especially hitting that like button really helps me. Also, I just want to say thank you to the 3 Patreons who have went onto my Patreon account and is supporting the channel through Patreons. Again, thank you guys so much. I am going to, at the end of my videos, go on there and put in my edited videos. I'm going to put in who is supporting me on Patreon, because I am supportive and very thankful of you guys as well. So hope your hand is back to normal. I hope so. Yeah, it's taking forever. All right, so here we go. We are going to be talking about the wise distribution technique. So as you can see here, there's a whole lot going on here. I'm going to break it down. It's really simple, especially if you are already in the coffee making routine and in the workflow. So we have a diagram 1, 2, and 3. Now we have what is called a deep method, a mid method, and a partial method. So we're going to go ahead and discuss this right now. So first we're going to talk about number 1. So this is the best illustration of a portafilter basket. So if you guys are new to espresso, this is what a portafilter basket looks like. So it's at the view of this. So this is what you're looking at right now. It's kind of just like a see-through. So what you're going to see here is orange and blue. The orange represents your coffee grounds inside of the puck. Now this is already, let's just say the coffee grounds are already in there, and you just grinded it into the portafilter before tamping or anything like that. So here we have what's called deep. Now, when you use the deep technique or deep method, this is, for an example, when you're using like the built-in grinder for the Barista Express or the Smart Grinder Pro by Breville. Now, these aren't bad grinders by any means. If you guys have this machine, don't take this the wrong way. It is a very good grinder, and it's a very good machine, and it gives you very good shots of espresso. Now, the problem with these, I guess you can say lower end or budget grinders, is the fact that they are a bit clumpy. Now, clumpiness does affect your shot. Now, if you think about it, you take your coffee grinds and you have a couple big clumps in there. Well, obviously those clumps are going to hold more coffee beans in that area than the rest of the basket. So now you go to tamp that or distribute that, they may be distributing unevenly, and then you go to tamp that down, and tamping is just pretty much just making sure that it's all very nice and level. Now, the problem is it might look good on the surface. However, when you go to tamp that, there may be more coffee grounds in certain locations than others, And when that water comes to kind of saturate that puck and it goes to a full 9, 10, or 11 bar pressure, depending on the machine you have, it's going to find the areas where there is less coffee. And now this is what causes channeling. So you're not going to get that beautiful Instagram shot that you see for the bottomless portafilter. So we're going to use the deep method. Now, what is the deep method? Now, the deep method, if you come over here, I have this drawing right here of the WDT tool. Now, I think there's two different kinds. We're going to talk about this one in a second. This one we're going to use for method 1 and 2. And as you see here, this is kind of a good example. So this is actually a WDT tool from JS Pro Coffee. Definitely check them out. They're on Etsy. I believe this is about $35 on Etsy. A bit pricey, but I think it's very well. It also comes with this stand, really nice as well. So just to give you guys a better look, so if you see, there is 9 little needle prongs here. They're very, very thin. They're like acupuncture needles, I guess, if you want to call them, and really, really nice when fluffing out your grinds. So WDT tool is meant to fluff out your grinds and get rid of blemishes that maybe your grinder created with clumps or unevenness when it goes into the portafilter, whether you're transferring into your bottomless portafilter or your basket, or you're going straight in, so, or you're dosing straight into it. So the deep method is when, so obviously if you see the blue, that is where we are going to use the WDT tool. So it's really hard to see. Let me see if I can get close. Oh gosh, you guys don't want to see that. Okay, so here is a closer view. So we're looking at 1 right here. So like I said, the orange is the coffee grounds, and then you see the blue, which is the area that we are going to use the WDT. So with this illustration here, you're seeing that the deep method, we are going all the way down to the bottom of the basket. So we are going to then WDT the entire basket in a circular motion. I like to go in a circular motion. Totally up to you though. I find that gives you the best, most even results. However, like I said, the reason we are doing the whole basket with method 1, which like I said in an example is like the built-in grinder or the Smart Grinder Pro from Breville, more of a budget-friendly grinder, and that's because it's more clumpy, so you want to make sure that you're WDTing the whole basket. I think you're going to benefit more with this method here with a lower-end grinder, just because it's going to really fluff up those grinds that maybe the grinder maybe made a little bit inconsistent. So now we're going to look at number 2. So number 2, see if I can zoom out here really quick. So number 2, we're looking at the mid method. So for an example, that's like if you have a niche or a DF64. So they're very good, like it says here. They're mostly uniform, but it could use some attention to detail, a little bit of minor declumping. Now, yes, they are very, very good grinders, don't get me wrong, and they are a bit pricey. Now, I would say that for a grinder comparison of just what's out there, I would say this is about a mid-range grinder, because it's sitting at about $500 to $700, depending on where you're purchasing from, as opposed to like the Barista Express, like the Smart Grinder Pro, which is sitting about $200. So this one, like I said, is uniform, and it needs a little bit of minor attention to detail. So we're gonna come closer here and look at number 2. So if you look at number 2, you notice that it's a bit different than number 1. So in number 1, we use the deep method and we completely WT'd the whole basket. Now number 2, we're looking at the basket. Like I said, the basket's in the view like this. So here we're only gonna do the middle part and up. And that's because, like I said, the niche and the DF64 or the mid-budget grinders are very, very well with uniformity. It just needs a minor attention to detail. So that's just pretty much fluffing out the middle part and up to the rest of the grounds, because like you said, we don't want to have like the niche or the DF64 and think that it's an awful grinder, because they are very, very good grinders. Now, by doing the mid method here, it's going to allow you to really fluff up what needs that minor attention to detail, because there's not going to be many, many clumps with a grinder like this, especially if you're dosing straight into the portafilter basket. So here, like I said, this is going to help our shot, and I'm going to explain all this at the end as well. So now we're going to go into number 3. So number 3 is more of a partial WDT technique. And this, for an example, let me just bring you guys down. So this, for an example, is like the Atom 75. So the Atom 75 is pretty expensive from my understanding, from looking at grinders. Now, is it the most expensive grinder out there on the market? No, but it sits at about $1,500. So we go from like $200 to about $500 to $700 to about $1,500. So this is a partial, and the reason it's only a partial WDT is because in general, the Atom 75 is very uniform and extremely fluffy already. So we don't have to do as much work. The grinder is going to do most of the work for us. However, it is nice, as you see up here. I'll bring you guys a little bit closer. All right, so it is a lot fluffier and more uniform, but we could still use maybe on the edges, maybe if you're transferring or direct dosing. It clumps up tens in the middle, so we do want to fluff that out to where the whole circumference of the basket is completely filled and fluffed out, and that's going to give you the best type of extraction. Now, I am going to bring you guys over here to another illustration. So here is the two WDT tools that I think that are useful. Yes, they're both WDT tools, but I think they have a more significant use for them. So like I said, for this one, like I showed you with like the 9 prongs, that is more of an example of 1 and 2. So when you're using the deep or the mid method, you're going to want to use more thinner acupuncture needles, less of a diameter, because it's going to allow you, instead of just moving the grinds around, to fluff them out and break up the clumps. So that is going to be used with 1 and 2. Now with 3, with a partial, I don't think that a small diameter is really going to help you out as much. So we take a look more at this type of WDT tool, which is thicker in diameter. As you can see, the needles are a lot thicker and there's very few. So this is 3 compared to 9. Now this I would consider like a puck rake. So this would be used for like an Atom 75 that just needs some minor blemishes removed. So the reason being is because this is going to allow you to move the grinds into the basket a lot easier, while this one is a lot thinner and is going to allow you to fluff the grinds. So let's talk about it. We all know that when we are getting into espresso, this is the desired goal here. So we want pretty much for our shot, this is a bottomless portafilter, sorry if this is a bad illustration, but we want our shot to pretty much come together right away, and we want that stream to be one steady flowed stream and no spurting throughout the shot, which is channeling. So this is the end goal. Now I think that if you guys aren't already using the WDT method, it definitely makes for a better extraction from my experience. Now, like I said, I did take a poll on my YouTube channel, and about half of you guys are using the WDT method, and some of you say that you don't use it at all. Now, like I said, is this the most important thing that you need to do in order to get a good extraction when on a day-to-day basis? No. Now, I would say, especially like on the weekends, if you're trying to just kind of compare your shots just based on just distribution and tamping, or using a WDT tool like this one, or the puck rake like this, I would definitely say to just kind of experiment, because I've noticed that with extractions, they are a lot cleaner and nicer looking when you use the WDT to fluff it out. Say that 3 times fast. But like I said, we're just going to talk about this briefly. So when you're using a more budget-friendly grinder, like I said, there is more clumps. And with more clumps causes more inaccuracy, I guess you want to call it, when pulling your shots of espresso. So you really want to just kind of, that basket needs a lot of fluffing. Those grinds need a lot of fluffing. So I would strongly recommend using the deep method, going all the way down to the bottom of the basket and fluffing out all of the coffee grounds. Now with the second one here, a partial, or a mid, I should say, mid, you're going to just go halfway and up, because you're using a more higher end model of a grinder like the Niche or the DF64. They're going to be a little bit more consistent than those lower budget grinders, budget friendly grinders, and it's going to help tremendously. I don't think it's necessary that you need to go all the way to the bottom of the basket, because you're using a decent grinder. Now, when you're using a partial, I think partial, you shouldn't have to do a WDT at all, just because you're already paying $1,500 for, like the example, the Atom 75, and it's very, very fluffy, uniform. It's just a great grinder overall. But to really, really maximize those good results, that good extraction, to really try to minimize channeling at its most, I would say to do the partial method, which is using a rake tool to just kind of fluff it out and make sure that the whole circumference of the basket is completely level, filled with grinds, and you're gonna get a really good shot of espresso. Now, yes, this video is a bit rambled, but I did want to come and show you guys the importance of a WDT tool. Now, it has multiple functions. It's not just sticking it in there and just moving it around, which some people do think. You can still get a great result, but there is some science, if you want to call it, behind using the WDT tool. I do want to show you guys on a live of me actually pulling a shot, but right now it's just kind of difficult to bring the camera around and do everything one-handed. So I am waiting until my hand heals and I can finally use it again. But I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope this helps you guys. If you guys have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, as it really helps my channel be seen and it helps us grow this family community. And as we know, it's the best community in the world. So hallelujah to that. Anyways, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I will be going live on Instagram. Just to kind of recap what I showed here, just kind of in minor details. But if this video helps you at all, or you think that you're going to try the deep, the mid, or the partial method, let me know in the comments below as well. Also, let me know in the comments if you guys think WDT method actually works or actually has a purpose when pulling a shot on a day-to-day workflow basis. So again, my name is Dylan with Dylan's Home Espresso Bar. I thank you guys so much for tuning into this live, and until next time,